The listing day by itself, it was a good day, although we didn't, we expected much more, of course, from the on the demand side. But at one point, like token did like a 4x afterwards, and we had like amazing volume. I think like maybe in today's terms it's not something special, but it was like 12 or 13 million dollars in a day. But what happened, yeah, so that thing that we did, like acting as an escrow, that hit us back because the price in that bubble market went too high. People were buying a Revu token for 40 cents or 50 cents, and then they were expecting to sell it for much more. But then, like, a lot of those guys who would most likely come to exchanges when we on the listing date and buy tokens, they already bought them before. So it was like somehow a strange situation. But I remember that also, and we didn't know that, like on in early January, out of the blue, because we knew about the min swap, we knew about the Sunday swap, but those guys, Musli swap, they came out of nowhere and they listed Revu token, and we didn't want to support them because we didn't, we said, they didn't approach to us, we didn't know who they were or anything. But I know that, like, at some point, like on their exchange, Revu was selling for even above $1, so that was crazy. And yes, but unfortunately, all of that came too fast. So as I said, we launched a non-custodial wallet in October. Then immediately we started to working on staking center, because I said, to my team, listen, folks, we are not going to be able to, be on time with everything what we promised, and especially with the core feature. And but we were working on that in parallel as well, of course. But we need to provide something else to our token holders, so give them some incentives to keep them with us. And the first thing that came up to my mind was to build a staking center. We use also external agency to build a staking center for us, which was built connected to non-custodial wallet, so everything went on chain. We launched that in it was in Q1 2022. So we started to do partnership with a couple of Cardano projects to invite them to our ecosystem and to actually tell people. So we had a huge community to tell people about some other projects. Also, we use the staking center to promote, we call it our fund. That was the place where people could actually stake ADA to get a good APR on ADA, but we were using that ADA to invest in other projects and to earn on ADA. That was also one of the mistakes, I have to say, because ADA, not only it's a volatile token, and then if it goes up in price, you need to return more. But of course, we were exposed to the market because it was a business model behind it, not like a protocol or anything that is that could guarantee you a yield. But we actually said that we're going to use the ADA to invest in other Cardano projects, pre-ICO projects, to buy their tokens under good terms, but also help them to set up the token sale and everything, and to do well. And we did some amazing deals, but unfortunately, as we entered the bear market, either those ICOs didn't go well, or they postponed everything. And with time, I have to say, with all those investments that we did, we lost money. We really lost money. And our idea was to help others, and of course to earn something for ourselves and for our users. But in the end, it didn't went well. There were also along the way, after some other problems with the staking center. But I have to say that the staking center so far has been like the most used product within our ecosystem, because people loved it. We gave away a lot of free money. Free money, it's never free, but sometimes it was free, and many times we actually bought tokens that we were giving away. Again, there was nothing built on chain or on protocol to actually give those tokens away, but we were giving, of course, we were giving yield in Revu token for people who were staking Revu tokens. Also, we gave them some kind of NFTs, utility NFTs, which will unlock specific feature within our ecosystem by doing so. But yeah, many times we basically bought tokens, even like snack token. I remember, like we bought like a snack token for $10,000 or $15,000, which would if we kept those tokens, we would earn like 10 or 15x more, but we gave them away to our community. And with some projects we did like a partnerships, and then we exchange our token for their token. But the problem with their products was always that they didn't have a way how to distribute Revu tokens easily to their community. We could do that throughout our staking center, but they didn't have the same to actually do that. But for the end of this part, I know it's not a short one. It's like in the end it's a long video. Uh, I'm gonna wrap it up by saying that immediately after, not immediately after we raised, even before we raised, we already actually started to speak with card issuing companies and payment processors and banking providers, and also work on the compliance and to be able to offer such a product. The first company that we worked with that was already before or around the ICO was Decta. We came to that company throughout friend of a friend made a connection. He was in a fintech business. He said, those guys are good, but we started to talk with them. We spent, I think, like a month or two working with them, and then we found out that they don't have actually a product that we need or the platform that we need, and then we departed. But later we got in contact with a company called Manigo from the UK. But the founder of this company was a guy from the region, from the Balkans. He was from Serbia, and somehow, we spoke, and he sounded very promising and everything, and he told us that he can offer us exactly what we need. We also applied for the grant from the European Union with him. But what I liked about them, not only that he said that they had the product that we need and the platform, but also he was speaking similar language to ours. And I said, it's going to be good for the communication that we have somebody that it's not strictly using the English language. And yeah, that's how we started to work with them. But unfortunately, and I have to say that we did most of things with Manigo already by the end of 2021. And but so we were testing their cards already, and they got like punished by the regulator, and they were they couldn't actually provide their service anymore to us. So and it was a strange time, because we tried to talk to CEO, and he somehow just was like ghosting us for a month or so. I was very stressed out. We wanted to push out everything as soon as possible, and it was not working. And suspension of their service really affected us, because we were not able to issue throughout them debit cards. We already connected the KYC through them and everything, like an acquiring company, but it didn't work. And then in the beginning of 2022, I already did the research of the market, and then I found out about a company called Railsbank. And how I found out about it is because I was one of the earliest users of a crypto.com debit card. At the time when I applied for that card, their card, they were called Monaco, and I remember when they paid tons of money, to acquire that like crypto.com domain and change the name. But I was using their card, and I said, like from all those cards, crypto cards that I had in the past, the crypto.com was the only card that never stopped working. They were very very reliable. And then I checked, who they work with, and I found that they work with the Railsbank. Railsbank was their issuer. And then I did research, and I found out that the Railsbank was the biggest company in the industry. Of course, also the most expensive. Unfortunately, the slowest one, because they did work with tons of other companies. Uh, uh, um, and we started to work with them, and it took us like 1 year to actually throughout through them get acquire like e-money license from Bank of Lithuania, to go through all the compliance and actually to set up everything, to pay for even for the security, for the we had to secure up to $1 million um, uh, um, of funds of our users, and tons of things. And just as we were ready to launch, and that was like late 2022 Q4, I was still in negotiation with talks with Stevan from Manigo, because he wanted to at least work with us. He said, if I'm right, he said, I knew that you wanted to launch both on the UK market and in the European Economic Area, but he said that he can help us launch in Europe, not in the UK. It was something like that. And I said, Stevan, is not going to work, because we don't have like resources to work with the two separate platforms and service providers, and card issuers. We want to work with one. And also Rails Bank, later they also changed the name to Rails R. They sound promising, because they said that they can actually push the product not only within the European Economic Area and the UK, but also throughout other regions, which was very important for us. We wanted also to allow our other users from maybe Asia Pacific area, Africa, Latin America. We had a lot of users from there, to push the product out. Actually open for them like a bank account and issue them a debit card for subscription payments. But 2022 was really, it was crazy. It was crazy. Like I remember, like the war started early in 2022. Then May 2022, we lost also a lot of money, because I was taking UST stablecoin on Anchor protocol for 20% of yield. That was built on Terra Luna, and Terra Luna went to, the whole ecosystem went to shit, and the USD at one point it fell up to 60 cents or something. So we lost money there. So we also invested some money in Anchor. So that was like my bad decision. Then later on, like the Celsius went down. So luckily we didn't have anything there. Which also was the platform offering appealing yields. And then, of course, by the end of the year, that like shitstorm with the FTX came out. And besides that, Stevan was warning me, not everything is so great with Railsar. Listen to me, listen to me. And also, what I noticed is that like Crypto.com in Q4 2022, they departed from Rails R. They actually became their own issuer. And I saw like, and I spoke with some other people from the industry, and and they said, be careful, don't launch, be careful, because maybe it's better for you to wait and see what's going to happen, because the worst thing that can happen to you is to launch card program, and then after months or two you have to discontinue it, and then you're gonna lose a lot of users, and then it's gonna be hard to recover. So I said, okay, let's wait for Q1 2023. And believe it or not, in like late January, something like that, I received the email from Railsar that they lost uh, license to actually provide the services um, I think it was first the UK, later for the rest of the European Economic Area. Then in April, we spoke with those guys and they said, they're gonna most likely be no, it was not in April. In April, we already received that they filed for bankruptcy, but I think that in March or something like that, they said, wait for us. We are trying to find a solution. Our CEO is trying to raise more money or sell the company, and we gonna be back on track. In June, July, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And then again, I went with my team. Of course, Marco was here with me. He was usually the one who was also like speaking with those like service providers, comparing their fee structure and everything, asking them how everything works. And we spoke with, I think, everybody from the industry. Everybody. That there was a modular, there was like limit, there was uh, so now like my brain is dead because it's late. But with all of those like card issuers, and in the end, I came up to one decent company called Linksy. I saw that they're like working with Paynovate from the Belgian, which is e-money, a regulated company. They don't have like they have a moderate number of crypto users. They support crypto or will support crypto. That was also very important for us because at the time also there was a huge problem around the debit card supporting crypto because of the regulation and compliance, of course. And we decided to go with them eventually. But altogether, I think that we switched like between four companies, and the process of onboarding with those companies is really difficult because every platform, to not only to issue the card, but to set up everything. They have specifics. They have their own API documentation. Some are offering acquiring as part of their platform. Some are, connecting you with the acquirers, so you need to do deal with them separately. And we again had some specific requirements for our product regarding the 3DS, um, regarding the acquiring, because we wanted to allow people to add their debit cards to our platform and then be able to choose between all those different debit or credit cards on the fly, if they want to top up virtual debit cards for the subscription payments. And so some other also requirements, how to actually lock up the debit card for specific merchant ID, how to freeze the card, how to set up the limits on those cards, and all different things, because we have really unique use case for those virtual debit cards. I would say like to issue today it's not easy. I know companies that spend also like two years trying to issue debit card supporting crypto. But today it's much easier than it was in 2021 and especially 2022. Actually, the other way around. With time, it became much easier. But it's easy to, I would say, much easier. It's never easy. It's much easier to release debit card for a general purpose, general spending, because you just issue the card and then people top up that card, and there is nothing much, not a lot of control over that card, or like the mechanism behind it is not very difficult. With us is a quite different. And also, if for any case there is an interruption of the service, you basically always can spend the funds which are already on your account, because behind every debit card is basically like the bank account where the money sits. But it is easier to provide such a product, and even if there is an interruption, then like to actually onboard a lot of people to Revuto and make them use Revuto to pay for the things that they use for their business or whatever. And then if something happens, then like, and if those services cannot charge them, then they're gonna go away. They're gonna, it's not easy to make them replace their like debit cards with with Revuto. It takes some kind of effort, and then we really wanted to have a reliable partner to provide such a product. So yeah, for now I think that's gonna be it. Tomorrow I'm gonna continue with talking about Revuto. There is so many things that I can say, I need to say, and I want to explain, and beyond everything, I want to explain the vision and all the goal and what kind of great products we wanna push out. And I also gonna ex explain all the hustle, and the bad and the goods, and and why it took us so long. And people usually ask ourselves, where is the money? But believe it or not, like, it's not the same having the, like, raising a lot of money and having that money in your bank account or keeping it in crypto. It's quite difficult. Also, you have to manage it very well, because if you get exposed to crypto and to volatility, you can suddenly, from 10 million or whatever, you can have like 5 million or 2 million. I know, like, it happened to others. I know, like, the from 2017, I think so. So there was like one company in region that raised like 21 million, and they didn't manage well the funds they kept. A lot of things, most of the funds in crypto and volatile assets. And then when things went down, they lost a lot of money. Of course, expenses are still there, and when you have to spend those funds when they are worth much less, then you're most likely you're gonna spend all very quickly. So that's also one part of the huge problem, how to manage funds, but also not to spend too much. And that was also one of the big problems, because in the beginning we were trying to do too many things in parallel, because we thought that we're gonna be able to manage. So, and then we didn't finish those things, not only because of us, but because we chose like bad partners to help us with that. And then at one point I said, like, let's cut off everything what is unnecessary, even like the downsize the team, because at one point we were more than 40 people within the company, and then we downsized everything to 10 or something like that. So that was a huge difference. Of course, I learned that we can do similar things with 40 and 10 people, but we had a huge overhead, because we didn't need so many people anymore. So we had a lot of people in the marketing, in community management, in support, but engagement went down. Like all the buzz around the crypto went down, so we didn't need so many people. But that downsizing did hurt us as a project, because the hype went down, and then the morale went down when we had to actually say, not only employees but our friends, that we don't need them anymore. It was really harsh situation. And somebody and suddenly, from that, like, everything is great, you come to the situation when everything is not so great, so even close great. And it's hard to continue. But we said that we're gonna always, like, keep on building and trying to push the product out, which is gonna soon be out, at least like the core product, and then everything else. So yeah, for now, that's it. Hopefully I don't speak too fast, or too, I don't know, like, un too too maybe, I don't know, like, hopefully you're gonna understand what I wanted to say. that's that's actually what I wanted to say. Okay, it's late. Yeah. Let's continue this next time. Bye.